and right after that, graduation will be right around the corner. So I'm here to give you guys some statistics on drunk driving and some tips in case you happen to come across an accident or are in one. If you didn't know, the leading cause of death for teens is car accidents, and about a third of those accidents are alcohol related. While teen drunk driving is declining, it has not declined enough for us to not talk about it. Just in case you happen to come across an accident or see one, here are some tips. The first thing you should do is call 911. Sorry, I gotta take this. Hello?
Help! I've been in an accident. I don't know what to do.
Cregan, where are you? What happened?
I don't know. We were headed back from the party at Crystal's house. I think I blacked out.
Is everyone okay?
No, Brianna's not moving. I don't know what to do.
You need to get off the phone with me. I'll call your mom and we'll be there as soon as we can find you.
Okay, thank you. I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. We were just having fun. I mean, yeah, we were drinking and maybe we shouldn't have gotten to the car. But we didn't know. We didn't think anything like this could happen. The music was loud. We were just being teenagers. The next thing I know, there was a flash of headlights and the sound of glass shattering. Then everything went dark. I don't remember much. I remember crawling out of the car. It was smashed. Brianna's on the ground and she's not moving. I'm scared. I trusted Nick. I trusted him. This was supposed to be a night to remember. It was supposed to be fun. Not this way.
I had dreams. I had a lot of dreams. And I would still have those dreams if I didn't make that stupid decision. He was my best friend and I trusted him. And he was my best friend, how can I not trust him? I can't believe this. My little brother, he looked up to me and I let him down. I told him all the time, just make the right decisions, be yourself, and how can you believe me now when I can't even make the right decisions myself? I won't be there for him anymore. And I was going to be the first in my family to go to college. No, I'm not. Daddy won't have his little girl to walk down the aisle. And I ruined everything. I ruined my parents' life, I ruined my brother's life, and it's all gone, and there's nothing I can do. There's that one stupid decision. And of course I knew not to do it. What teenager would do that? But you get caught up in the moment, you don't know what else to do. It's hard, and I wish I could take it all back.
I can't believe this. What have I done? I'm a good guy. I don't even drink that often. When we pulled up, we were pulling out of the party. We didn't know what was going to happen. I thought I would be fine driving drunk. I've done it before. Nothing bad happened any of the other times. You trusted me this time. It couldn't have been my fault. There must have been something wrong with the car. I think I felt the power steer to get out. This was supposed to be a night to remember.
Another call in the middle of the night. Never a good sign. But a motor vehicle accident, that's always very bad. Last month we had one. We did the jaws of life to get him out of the vehicle. They all didn't make it. It was tough on the guys, but we got another call now. So we'll have to go back out again, and hopefully it won't be as bad as that.
When I received the call, it sounded bad. I prepared myself to expect the worst, hope for the best. When I arrived on the scene, I took a look at the vehicles, tried to gauge the damage. If I took a look at the outside of the car, I may have an indication of how badly injured the people inside are. I knew it wasn't going to be good when I saw it. My training kicked in. I had to take charge. I had to make sure that that scene was protected. Make sure that the first responders who volunteer their time are protected from any other oncoming traffic. I looked at the vehicles because I work in this community. I tried to see if I recognized it. Been here long enough so I know who drives what around town. The vehicle was familiar. I knew it was somebody from the town, from the school district. I have to protect that scene, and even though I know that person, I have to treat that or any DWI incident or accident as a potential crime scene. I knew that I would have to collect evidence, do interviews, and make an arrest. It's not something that I ever wanted to happen, but it happens. Once I've turned the scene over to our accident reconstructionist, my assignment would probably be to go to that family, that deceased passenger, and tell them that their child is dead and that they're not coming home.
My name is Steve Emerson. I'm the operations manager of Warrensburg EMS and a paramedic, almost 30 years now. I've been to way too many of these scenes. As a matter of fact, 10 years ago, next month, was the day that I had to pronounce Jason Daniels dead. That was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. My daughter was a student here and went to school, and she knew Jason. I had to console her. Not to mention, I had to console every first responder that was on that scene, because it affected every single one of us. It continues to affect us. To this day, I can see Jason Daniels' eyes.
A grand jury would be convened. They would listen to testimony about the crash. They would be asked to consider the charge of vehicular manslaughter, a charge that puts a defendant at the risk of 5 to 15 years in state prison. A trial would ensue. I'd ask that the jury and the people of the case of the people of the state of New York versus Nick, what's your last name? Nedelcu. The people of the state of New York versus Nick Nedelcu. It would be on TV. It would be in the paper. And Nick would have to get an attorney. If he couldn't afford one, one would be appointed to him. Would the jury please take their seats? Okay, Nick. Now at the trial, he would have the right to remain silent. My case would be everyone you just heard. It would be the kids who were in the car, who would testify about him drinking. It would be the description of the crash scene. It would be the first responders who would describe smelling alcohol on his breath, seeing red watery eyes, and hearing slurred speech. It would be a medical examiner who would describe how Brianna was killed, how she died of blunt force trauma to the head, and it would be an autopsy. All of that evidence would be in. At this point in the trial, I would have put in my case, I would have been able to show that Nick's blood alcohol content was 0.13, well above the legal limit of 0.08. And then his attorney would have a right to put on a case. And at this juncture, Nick has testified on his direct examination, and he's about to face cross-examination. So you say that you drank just a little, is that correct? Sorry. Normally you don't want to get this close to a witness because you kind of want to stay away from them, but just for mic purposes, we'll share the mic. Isn't it true that you drank from 10 o'clock until 2:30?
It is.
And you had in that period over 12 beers. Isn't that true?
It's possible.
And you're saying you were completely fine.
That is what I said, Your Honor.
Do you remember Trooper Miller, who took you to the state police barracks to administer a Draeger test?
I do.
And when he gave you that test, that breath test, he gave you all your rights and told you that you had a right not to take the test. Isn't that true?
This is true.
And you took that test.
Yes.
And you're not controverting the results of the test.
I am not.
And that test showed that your blood alcohol level was 0.13. Isn't that true?
This is true.
Your Honor, I have no further questions. He's really not going to have a lot that he can say in this case because there will be eyewitnesses who will have to tell the truth. When you're subpoenaed to court and you're put under oath, if you don't tell the truth, you can be charged with perjury. So whether they're his friends or not, every one of his friends would have testified that he had been drinking, that he was drunk and he got behind the wheel of a car, and that he drove on a public road. And as a result of his driving, he got in a crash that caused the death of their friend. That's an easy case for me to prove. It's not fun. I don't like it. I don't want to send kids to state prison. But at this point, when someone does something so willful, that's so reckless, and takes the life of someone young, that's what happens. So at this point, I would sum up to the jury, and I would say all of that. Members of the jury, you've heard uncontroverted evidence in this case. The defendant himself stood on the stand and told you he was intoxicated. He told you he was operating a motor vehicle on a public road, and as a result of his driving, Brianna is dead. She will never graduate. She will never go off to college. The last thing she ever did was go to a prom, thinking that she was going to have fun. She wasn't expecting to go to her grave. You promised me in the beginning of this case that you would listen with an open mind and consider all the facts and evidence. And now it's your time to do your duty. It's your job to go into that room and deliver the only verdict that's consistent with the evidence in this case, and that's a verdict of guilty. And honestly, with a case as strong as this, it's not likely that it'd go to trial. What the defense attorney would probably do is say, he feels terrible. Nick feels terrible about the death. Could you let him go to state prison for 2 to 6 years as opposed to 5 to 15? We would consult with the victim's family. We would ask the probation department to prepare a report and give us everything about the background of him. But if the family said, no, we want the maximum, it would be in the hand of 12 jurors. And there really is no basis for reasonable doubt in this case, given the strength of the evidence. So when you're going to your prom this weekend, and it's this weekend, right? It's such a short period of time. Please, please don't make any stupid mistake, because nobody wants to prosecute you, certainly not me. The first responders don't want to go to an accident where there's a death. The firefighters, the EMS, nobody. And the school doesn't want to have another kid from their school who's not there to graduate. So, thank you. What was the name of the person that was killed? It obviously wasn't Brianna. Brianna, it is? Rihanna. Okay. Sorry. Okay, Brianna, I apologize. I could tell from the jury's eyebrows I was saying the wrong name. I'm thinking, I thought it was Brianna. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? You know, as you're going to go through life, you're going to come to crossroads, and you're going to have an opportunity to think back on times where your teachers are talking to you. You're not always going to make the right decision, but and just learn from your mistakes. But please, in the next 2 years while you're in high school, the mistakes you make can stay with you for the rest of your life. So please, just think carefully about drinking, about taking pills, Oxycontin, hydrocodone. I know there's pills in schools. I know that's in this school. It's in every school. Be very, very careful. It's a big cross to carry for the rest of your life. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hello. My name is Tammy Miller. And normally, Monday through Friday, I'm down at a place called NICET taking care of your teachers. But I took a vacation day because I felt it's so much more important to come up and talk to you guys. Even if I can make an impact on one of you this weekend, it'll be worth that vacation day. I talk to you all from an organization called MAD. And I'm sure you're all familiar with that. I want to show you a few people of my family. This is my mom. Her name is Marge Ware. And this is my son, Tony. This is my punk nephew, Mason. He just turned 8. That's him again. This is my mom and my granddaughter, Ava. She just turned, and I have custody of her. She's a bigger punk. Cute as hell, though. Last October, I was coming home up the Northway, and I was living in Hudson Falls at the time, listening to the iTunes. I saw my phone go off and see my sister's name, and like a lot of my relatives just didn't want to take that call. So I let it go to voicemail. And as I was getting off exit 17, I decided I better check and see what she wanted. See if I can get this on speaker here.
In a car accident. She had Mason, Tony, and Ava with her. Derek and I just got up here to the scene. It's bad. They're cutting Mom out by the jaws of life and they're taking her to the hospital. I was talking to the cop. He thinks that the girl was drunk. I mean, he didn't say that, but I mean, you could tell just by the way he was talking that I think she was drunk. It's up on Aviation Road. Like I said, as soon as they get Mom out, we're heading to Glens Falls Hospital. So, as soon as you get this message, meet us there.
That'll turn your day around in a heartbeat, huh? I can say, fortunately, that they all made it okay. They all survived. Let's see here. But the car didn't. And my mom loved that car. Yeah, they had to use the jaws of life, caught on fire. Not a pretty sight. The other driver, we found out it wasn't her first time driving drunk. This happened right outside the school zone of Queensberry School on Aviation Road, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Turns out, because she lost her license, she borrowed her mom's car, and she blew a .28 and had hydros in her system, and decided to get behind the wheel of a car. Yeah, that's not an accident. I don't know if you can see it that well, but the driver was coming from the opposite direction and passed a couple of cars, T-boned my mom's car on the driver's side, pushed her up onto somebody's lawn, and thank God they just missed that telephone pole. Otherwise, the impact from both sides would have killed everybody in that car. Real close call. But it's not just the night of the accident. There's, like Kate told you, all the court appearances, and it's not just a one-day deal. I've gone up there and sat while they've asked for postponement after postponement, the medical costs, the time from work that you miss. My mom was so frustrated, and so was the rest of the family, you know, that this woman was still out there on the streets like nothing happened. So I got in touch with MAD, asked them if they could step in and help us out, get some kind of resolve to this. And it's still going on. Like I said, that accident was back in October. She finally pled guilty. She's awaiting sentencing. She is going to have to do some mandatory jail time. Hopefully she sobers up during that. So the statistics are 1 in 3 people are affected by a drunk driver. Unfortunately, I've been affected by many drunk drivers. It wasn't just that one accident. So when they asked me to make this presentation, I figured I'd bring them all up. This is my cousin Mike, good old farm boy from Gansford. Went to school with me, always had my back from kindergarten on through. That's him, right around graduation time. He got married and had 2 kids, and one night went out with his other cousin, Jeff, and they had been drinking, but Mike figured Jeff was good with this. And they were on their way home, a couple of miles from the farmhouse, actually, and Jeff lost control of the vehicle. And yeah, that's the vehicle. I have a lot of relatives in this town where we grew up in Gansford, and unfortunately for my other cousin, Mickey, he was an EMT. He was one of the first on the scene. As he was running through the woods to get to where the car was, he actually tripped over my cousin Mike's head. He had been decapitated in the accident. He never went back as an EMT. On a side note, my other cousin John, he was in the back seat. He did survive. He was in the hospital for 6 months. The driver, Jeff, He actually walked away. He didn't require hospitalization. Unfortunately, he went on to have several more DWIs. This accident happened in the 80s, and the laws weren't as tough. He faced no jail time, did not 1 day for taking my cousin's life. He died in another drunk driving accident last year at the age of 49. Art Rouse was a classmate of mine. He settled in to Gansford and he got married and had a wife and 3 kids. He, his wife, and the kids were driving down Route 50 to take curtains back to the store to exchange them. A drunk driver coming from Saratoga who worked at the track crossed the double solid line, hit their vehicle head on, killed them all instantly. These 3 kids would have been graduating just about the time you guys are. Unfortunately, they didn't get to see that. Beautiful gravestone, though. This is the last one I'm going to show you because this gets pretty emotional. I have a coworker also down at NYSET. Her name is Susan Perino. She grew up on Long Island, and she lives up here in Albany now. Most of her family is still down on Long Island. Several years ago, the cousin that she was closest with and had kids the same age as Susan's kids, the one daughter got married. So Susan was all excited and went down to see family. She hadn't seen in forever. And she was talking about her cousin's daughter, the sister. The little girl, Katie, was 7 years old, and she was going to be the flower girl. And Susan was just so preoccupied with this because the phone calls and the pictures and her trying on her dress and all. And the wedding was over a 4th of July holiday. The family went out of their way to make reservations for a shuttle bus to take people from the reception back to the hotel, just so if they drank, they wouldn't have any problems. They planned for everything they could, and that's Katie there. After the reception, the bridal party, part of the bridal party got into the limo, and they were heading down the highway, and the limo driver spotted a truck coming towards him in the wrong direction. And he tried to avoid the accident, but the truck took out the limo. It not only killed the limo driver, it also, I don't know what it is with decapitations, but little Katie was decapitated. Her father had a broken back. Her mother climbed out of the limo. This is how devastating it was. She climbed out of the limo while they were extracting the rest of the bridal party. And she sat on the side of the road for an hour holding Katie's head and wouldn't let go. That was back in 2007, and just to let you know the impact, Susan, the coworker I was telling you about, her own daughter got married this last summer, and she invited all the family from Long Island to come up. But because of that accident, or that crash back in 2007, only one family member was able to emotionally be stable enough to come up and attend her daughter's wedding. That's where the limo driver was. He was also killed instantly. Not a good scene. So let's try some statistics. Just lighten the mood a little, even though they're bad statistics. On average, 1 in 3 people will be involved in a drunk driving crash in their lifetime. In 2010, 211 children were killed drunk driving crashes. Out of those 211 deaths, 131 were riding with a drunk driver. Alcohol impairment among drivers involved in fatal crashes in 2010 was 4 times higher at night than during the day. In the United States, the number of drunk driving deaths has been cut in half since MADD was founded in 1980. But they're still trying. Every day in America, another 27 people die as a result of drunk driving crashes. High school students who use alcohol or other substances are 5 times more likely to drop out of school or believe good grades are not important. Kids who start drinking young are 7 times more likely to be in an alcohol-related crash. Car crashes are the leading cause of death for teens, and about 1/3 of those are alcohol-related. Teen alcohol use kills about 6,000 people a year, more than illegal drugs combined. 1 in 5 teens binge drink. Only 1 in 100 parents believe his or her own teen binge drinks. MADD has helped save over 27,000 young lives with the passage of the 21 minimum drinking age law. Almost 1 in 3 8th graders has tried alcohol. Drunk driving costs each adult in this country almost $500 a year. Yeah, there's your insurance rates, as bad as they are already. Almost 1 of 3 people will be involved in a alcohol-related crash in their lifetime. In 2011, almost 900 people died in drunk driving crashes, 1 every 53 minutes. Almost every 92nd, a person is injured in a drunk driving crash. An average drunk driver is drunk 80 times before their first arrest. That's a little odd. So, with prom coming up, I know you're going to be caught up in the moment. I really do. I just don't want to see any one of your parents get a phone call. It's not worth it. These are the best times of your life. You want to remember this weekend. You can't do that when you've drunk to excess. You just can't. Any questions? I need to lighten up the mood. It's not just the drunk drivers, but you got to think about the pictures on Facebook. So let's slide through a couple of these. You don't want these kind of pictures on Facebook. You spend too much money on your outfit and your hair. If for anything, just make sure this don't. right there. Okay? Again, my name's Tammy, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful prom.